Hello indie game fans, Steam is once again having a sale, this time for autumn, and since I know a bunch of you are from the US and it is Thanksgiving weekend, perhaps you need something new to play? Well, I have a selection of games old and new, so save some money and pick up some deals right now. Let's begin with Black Future 88, a great looking pixel art roguelite platformer that is flying a little under the radar. It self-describes as a synth-punk entry, having an amazing look and quite a fascinating setup. In this world, nuclear bombs dropped in 1988, which caused people to stop keeping time, where everything is now measured in minutes to live. You're trying to climb an ever-evolving tower, trying to get to the top to kill its insane owner who dropped the bombs in the first place, all before your heart explodes. As such, it does have a sense of urgency in trying to explore as quickly as you can, with some fun weapons and decent action. This next title was a very pleasant surprise for little old me in 2017, since while Superflight doesn't look particularly visually amazing, there is something to this game which makes it worth your time. You play as a person in a wingsuit, having to glide around these procedurally generated landscapes where you get awarded points for skimming dangerously close to these cliffs and surfaces. It does come to us from developer Clemmygames, who went on to make their relaxing city builder Islanders, where if you can get into a flow with this game, could be quite the relaxing experience.
Inhuman, relentless, unstoppable. You have only one purpose: murder.
One of the underrated action platformers that I really love is Butcher from 2016, one that actually made my Game of the Year list in that year, and thus perhaps gets short shrift due to the scale of the pixel art. Yes, you're indeed a little pixelated humanoid cyborg sent to eradicate what remains of humanity by what else than blowing them up into bloody chunks. It does remind me strongly of Doom, but as a side-scroller, where the level of challenge is actually pretty high, but definitely a fun game worth picking up, where this developer did go on to make Carrion from 2020, which makes this worth a play.
Exterminate them all.
An older title that I absolutely adore is Far Lone Sails from 2018, a puzzle platformer that is indeed very chill. You're traversing across a dried out seabed after what appears to be some sort of post-apocalyptic event, travelling from left to right in quite a unique vehicle. You do need to provide fuel, push buttons and pull levers in order to get the vehicle moving, even having some out-of-vehicle puzzle platforming. And while not a difficult game by any stretch, it is a hauntingly beautiful title, and with the sequel coming up, why not give the original a go? The oldest title on this list that I think is still worth a play is Recettear and Items Shop's Tale, a game from 2010 if you can believe it, and is perhaps the original shopkeeping action-adventure game. It has you adventuring in the dungeons, fighting monsters and getting items to sell in your shop. In perhaps what is an artifact of older games, there is a game over condition where you have a massive amount of debt with regular payments that need to be made, where if you fail to have enough gold to do so, that's the end of your run and you need to start over or reload a save if I remember correctly. But for being one of the OGs in the space which spawned games like Moonlighter, I do still think that it's worth checking out.
Freedom is a privilege. Yours has been revoked. You seek to earn it back. Then prove your worth.
This next title will be familiar to fans of the channel since this is your annual reminder to play Pyre, perhaps the most underrated title from Supergiant Games. This is a gorgeously made title that combines a visual novel with mystical basketball, but this game absolutely hooked me from the start to end and is so horrendously underappreciated that I take every chance that I can to give it a shout out.
Under the shadow of Olympus, humanity gasps its last breath. Zeus, king of gods and men, has turned his back on your people. Ascend Mount Olympus, strip these callous gods of their power, and together we will take what is owed.
I just talked about developer Alien Trap when previewing upcoming games of December, since they're releasing the live sim entry Witchwood, but we are revisiting their title from 2015 in Apotheon. This is an action platformer that stands out due to the art style, looking like what you would see on Greek pottery, but in motion, where the action and combat in this is great, which makes it worth a play.
Arise, my chosen. Arise, Nicandrios.
Let's kick off the top 3 with a fairly popular entry, but one that newer players of indie games may not be familiar with in Hotline Miami 2 Wrong Number. This is the sequel to the mega smash hit from 2012, which was one of the games that kicked off the popularity of indie games, being a brutal and violent top-down action game. If you have not played either game in the series, I believe it's worth it for historical significance alone, where if you're interested in a video on retro indie games, drop a watermelon emoji in the comments below. One of my favourite games from 2020 is Monster Sanctuary, a turn-based RPG like Pokemon that features 3-on-3 battles, but where exploration is as a side-scrolling platformer and you have to use your monster abilities to access new areas like a Metroidvania, or, come to think of it, kind of like a HM in Pokemon. I love the pixel art and monster designs here, but the skill trees are impressive as well, making this for fans of monster taming games. This developer's post-launch support has been great as well, with a number of free updates adding post-game content, making this a developer worth supporting. And of course, a no-brainer pick is Blasphemous, a grimdark Metroidvania that I absolutely love the look of, currently at a historical high discount of 75% off. This draws influences from the Catholic faith, coming to us from a developer in Spain, which reflects the brutality of the Spanish Inquisition, but where, of course, I love the pixel art, being prominently featured in my video linked above. Why I'm bringing this up is that not only is the discount great and that it is a fantastic game, the developers have been supporting the heck out of this with many free content updates, the latest and final of which is titled Wounds of Eventide, which wraps up the game and will be releasing on the 9th of December. So if, somehow, you have still not picked this up, it really is the best time to do so, taking the number 1 spot. For more pixel art titles, watch these videos and I will see you after the jump.